Alright, stop. Bonus time. This week for the background and gameplay, I have the very poorly reviewed, but actually not that bad game, Crimson Dragon, Xbox One exclusive and launch title. Recently released under the Games with Gold program for, well, kind of free. I mean, you still have to pay for stuff to get it, but yeah. I didn't pay directly for the game, and that's good enough for me, because it's kind of okay. I had fun playing it, but it's not the best game in the world, that's for sure. It's a little bit like Rez with dragons, and I like Rez, and I like dragons. So yeah, it's on rails, and you shoot a bunch of stuff, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it. You get like objects, and you can feed your dragon stuff to upgrade them and evolve them, like Pokemon or something. I've got a red dragon, because I think the red dragon is the coolest dragon. Anyway, enough dragons, let's get on with the questions! Scott Clausen says, if you had to choose a standard lager, bottle or on tap that you could find in a run-of-the-mill pub, what would it be? Granted, they all taste pretty awful, but if I had to choose, it would be a Tuborg. Alright, hang on, let's look up the most common beer brands in the UK. Number 1, Stella Artois. Number 2, it's Foster's. Number 3, it's Carling. 4, Carlsberg. 5, Budweiser. 6, Carlsberg Export. Kronenberg 1664. Beck's. Tennent's. Oh dear. Stella Artois 4%. Rolls. Carlsberg Special Brew. Peroni Nastro San Miguel. Corona. Heineken. Honestly, when it comes to lagers like this, there isn't that much between them, so I'm not that fussy. Presented with a choice like that, maybe Stella. It doesn't have the greatest reputation, but it's a lager, and if you're trying to get drunk, it's marginally stronger than the other lagers on offer as well. I guess Carlsberg would be okay. Actually, Budweiser in the UK is kind of marketed as a little bit more of a premium brand, because it's imported. And to be fair, the Americans don't do a bad pale lager. I mean, they're pretty well practiced at doing that sort of thing, so the clean taste of Budweiser's not too bad. But man, if I was in a pub that sold only lager, I don't know if I'd stick around for a second drink. Thankfully, most places at least have Guinness on tap, so you can always get something a little bit darker. Native American says, are you excited for the upcoming game, Borderlands the pre-sequel? If so, would you consider making video content for it? I'd be more excited if it was next gen, if I was honest, because it just looks like, a rehash of Borderlands 2, which it pretty much is. I mean, I'm sure there'll be new guns, new mechanics. There's the whole oxygen thing, isn't there, on the moon? But yeah, it does look pretty similar to Borderlands 2, just more of the same, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. As for video content, it's a possibility, comes out in October. But it's a busy time for games, isn't it? So I might have a few other things queued up. I imagine I'll still be playing Destiny then, and there might be a few other things that come out. But I guess, maybe a single video is not outside of the realm of possibility, so I'll keep an open mind. Aki40FF says, Stu, have you heard anything about the free-to-play game Warframe? If so, what did you think of it? Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I've played a bit on PC. I've only played a few games, though. It seems very grindy. Like, maybe it'd be okay if you sank a lot of time into it, but I don't know, I've been on a bit of a single-player kick of late, really. There's something about free-to-play games that just rubs me the wrong way. But then I have been playing quite a few of them for Iconic Arms, like War Inc. Battlezone. That was one. I didn't really care for it, if I'm honest. What else have I played? Alliance of Valiant Arms, there. Warface, there. They all seem very similar. Freddy Tenton says, will you ever visit Denmark, Stu, now that you know how to somewhat pronounce our both famous and infamous newcomers' words? I would like to, yes. I think Copenhagen is quite high up on my list of places to visit. I'd love to go and see the Mikkeller Bar, because I think they're one of my favourite brewers, and they've got their own place. Fantastic beers, very quirky style, I think I'd like it there. And also, I like European cities, certainly ones with history. I think I'm quite well suited to the climate along the Baltic coast. So I'd quite like to tour along there. Denmark, north of Germany, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, up to Finland, back to Sweden, and then home again. That'd be nice. SayQ says, ahoy, have you ever been to the Netherlands? I have, although it was a long time ago now. It was with a school trip. We did all the usual touristy stuff. We stayed in a small place called Noordwijk aan Zee, and we spent a lot of time in Amsterdam. We went down to The Hague as well, or Den Haag, Den Haag. Damn G's. Nice place. I have an ambition to visit the south of the Netherlands, maybe Brabant. I dare say that's where the best of Dutch beer comes from. The north is all Heineken and Grolsch. The south, a little bit more refined, a bit more Belgian, dare I say, or Flemish, really. My comrade there says, alright Stu, do you ever buy limited or special editions of games? I normally steer away from anything of the sort, but I'm surprisingly looking forward to Destiny, where I pre-ordered the limited edition. Also, where do you buy your physical copies of games? It's Amazon for me. I normally buy my physical copies from Amazon as well. I've got a Prime subscription, so I save a little bit of money on postage. And they're pretty reliable, and they're normally pretty competitive on price as well. The only thing I don't like about them is that they've changed courier recently. New games used to come in the morning about 10 AM, but now... Oh, that's their own courier, and they turn up whenever they please. They come at like 5 PM. It's like, what is this? I've been waiting in all day for this. I could have been playing it. I could have finished the campaign by now. Still, they're alright. As far as limited editions, I have bought a few in the past, but I don't go mad for them. Well, I got the Borderlands 2 special edition because it came with a bobblehead, and I don't think it was that much more expensive than the regular edition. I got the Black Ops 2 Prestige edition. Comes in a giant care package. I kind of regret buying it, but then it is kind of cool, so whatever. Apart from that, can't really think of any others in recent history. I bought the Hardened edition of Modern Warfare 2. That's really it. Yeah, normally I just buy the standard one because it's the cheapest, and I'm interested in the game. I don't need no art books or statues or anything else cluttering up my house, so yeah, game is fine. PlayStation 3 and 4 video says, hey Stu, do you have a beard? If not, do you like them? And have you ever grown one? I do have a beard, yes. It's kind of, it's rather unkempt. I trim it back to a number 6, which is, I think it's 3/4 of an inch. I think I might trim it back a bit in the future. I've got a wedding coming up. I'm going to Paris for a wedding, so I might have to clean up for that. So I'll probably take it back to a closer crop. So yeah, I like having a beard. I didn't like it at first, but it definitely grew on me. Bacon Jerky says, have you considered finding uncopyrighted video of people firing the weapons for iconic arms? Easier said than done, and quality would be very variable as well. Simpler just to stick with the format that I've got, you know, video games I can record and the graphics I can produce. Bird is the Word 27 says, hey Stu, with the Iconic Arms series, will you cover John Browning? Being that he designed so many iconic arms that have been featured in movies and games, like the 1911, Winchester 1887, Browning automatic rifle, and more. After all, he does have 113 patents on firearms in the US. Will I cover John Browning? No, John Browning is not an iconic arm. He's an iconic arms designer. Or will I cover an arm that John Browning has designed? Yes, of course, yes, of course. The M1911 will crop up in Season 2. And I'm sure as the series goes on, there will be a few more. Canadian Boy 14 says, approaching that 100k sub milestone, keep up the great vids. I've been at like 80-odd thousand for ages now. I'm at the point where I'm kind of treading water, the subscribers on this channel. That's the one thing people don't really realise about older channels is it's not so much about the gaining of subscribers. You gain subscribers all the time. It's about how quickly you lose them as well. In the business world, it's called churn. And rather interesting, it doesn't matter how fast you're growing, you'll always reach a point where you're losing subscribers faster than you gain them, or, you know, you'll level out. If you do the same thing over and over again, you will eventually level out, and then it's a long, slow, inexorable decline. Anyway, this channel was propelled into broader exposure by the Black Ops videos. Black Ops season was, what, 3 years ago now, and it's difficult to maintain anyone's interest for 3 years, so... You know, after a while, yeah, you're going to have, well, they call them dead subscribers, but they're not dead, they're just not interested. And that's fine, you know. It's one of the realities of having an older channel on YouTube, is you get a bunch of people who are subscribed to you, but don't really watch your videos. And then one day they think, well, I don't really watch this guy's videos anymore, I'm going to unsubscribe. So growth-wise, my main channel is not doing too badly at the minute. About 9,000 subscribers gained over the last month. Unfortunately, my subscriber count only goes up by about 4,500, because about 4,500 people have unsubscribed. I don't take it personally, you know. It's just churn, isn't it? And hopefully, eventually I'll find another series that propels me to, you know, to being well known. And then I'll have, you know, a huge surge of subscribers on my main channel, a huge surge of subscribers in here, and then maybe 4 years after that, I'll be talking about how I've stagnated again. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, might take me a little while to get Ahoy Xbox to 100k. Certainly it'll take me a long time to get to 1 million on Xbox Ahoy, if I ever do. Doesn't bother me that much though. I mean, I don't care about this channel, really. I mean, as far as growth is concerned. I just talk into a microphone for 20 minutes every week, and some people tell me they like it, and that's fine. That's good enough for me. I'm more concerned about my main channel. And there, my philosophy is, you know, if I make a decent video, eventually I'll crack the right formula, and hopefully I'll find some success on the back of that. I stand by Iconic Arms. I think that's a pretty good series with some potential. I just need one of the videos to get some widespread appeal. You know, we're talking like million view status. The Deagle did alright. If I had a few more like the Deagle, I'd be sitting pretty as well. But yeah. We'll see. I have high hopes for the double barrel shotgun episode, because I do think double barrel shotguns are a particularly iconic part of video games. And the thing about doing sort of real firearms is they tend to appeal to kind of a certain sector. The intersection between guns and gaming, but unfortunately being there means I'm too guns for gaming and too gaming for guns. So it's kind of a niche, isn't it? But a generic weapon, I think, has slightly more gaming appeal, so we'll see how that does. That's my prediction anyway. Legs of Steel says, Stu, there is a 4-man pub brawl between yourself, John Total Biscuit Bain, Jim Sterling, and Ben Yahtzee Croshaw. No weapons allowed. Who would win, and why? 4 finer fighters they never were not. I think I've got a bit of an advantage here, because nobody really knows what I look like. Oh, I mean, sure, you know, some of you have seen me, but, you know, these guys, they won't recognise me, but they might recognise each other. So I might just slip into the crowd and watch while these 3 have a Royal Rumble, and then I'll just take on whoever's standing, you know, with a chair to the back of their head. Then I'll just waltz off before the police arrive. Job done. As far as, you know, which of those 3 might have the advantage, I think my money's on Total Biscuit. He is the youngest. Now, Jim, I think he's got the weight advantage, which could help, but I don't know how well trained he is, so I don't know. I don't think he's maybe got the stamina for a 3-way fight. TB, though, he's a little bit more balanced in stature, not like your wiry Ben Croshaw, you know. I think he'd be best at running away. That's his sort of forte, really. I don't think he's got the strength. I think the reality is I don't think any of us are really the fighting kind. We'd all just sit down, and I'd get a round of beers in. And I'd say to Total Biscuit, take that top hat off. You look like a... No, Ben, I'll get these. I'll get these. You sit down. Now, what's everyone having? Biggie345 says, what platform are you getting Destiny at? I'm going to buy it for the PS4. All those platform exclusives are... Well, I can't really pass them up. Certainly not when it runs at a higher native resolution and looks slightly better than the Xbox One version. That being said, though, I wouldn't mind getting it for the Xbox One as well. Mostly so I can get the achievements. Ben Westmore says, ahoy, Mr. Brown, any chance of some background gameplay of Crush on the horizon? And have you ever thought about releasing an alpha when you think it's ready? Do you know, I've actually restarted development of this game. It's been lying dormant for a little while. I've decided I'm going to spend a certain part of my week, every week, doing some development for Crush. Because I want to finish it. If I ever make it into, you know, like a magazine or something, I don't want to be described as a YouTuber, because I don't think that does me justice. So my philosophy is, if I release an indie game, right, instantly, I'll become an indie game dev. And people will be all like, ah, he's an indie game dev. Whereas if you say, I'm a YouTuber, you think, ah, he's a YouTuber. Now, as far as alphas and early access is concerned, I really don't want to release the game until it's in a state that I deem finished. I don't want to burn up all the hype on a product that maybe isn't that exciting, so it will be a lot closer to being finished before I even consider releasing it. When I hit that point where I think it's nearly finished, I might then maybe think about starting a Greenlight campaign, get it on Steam, maybe leverage my YouTube status to get some, you know, some fellas playing the game, get some exposure for it, and then boom, Bob's your uncle, you've got an instant hit. Of course, you know, that does require that I actually finish the game and that it's fun. So that's the first challenge anyway. BC and SL62309 says, hey Stu, have you ever put pen to paper and given a short story / fiction a try? For some reason I feel you'd be good at it, especially since you've had your own video game as a creative outlet already. It's funny you should ask actually, because I've been thinking about writing a novel in tandem with a video game. I have a grand idea for a game that I'd really like to sort of try my hand at, but it's a little bit too ambitious for a first title. So Crush, really, really simple game. Crush the things, get the points. Simple. But this game would have a story. It's science fiction, it's called Salvage, and you play the role of a salvage pilot in kind of the golden era of space trade. So you've got these big cargo ships that, transport goods between colonies and planets, and, they're backed by insurance companies. And whenever these huge cargo ships are lost or destroyed, they send in salvage operators to assess, the status of the ship and whether it's worth sending in another cargo ship to go and retrieve. So you're one of these individual guys, the Scout Salvage. It's just you in a small, lightweight craft. And you go in, you board the ship, you get the manifests, and you assess how much value is there in the ship. And that would be the main part of the game. Basically, you board a ship and then you've got to explore it, because you don't know precisely what the layout of the ship will be. You don't know whether it will be complete. It might have broken in two or something. And you've got to keep an eye on your energy levels, your oxygen, and other sort of other threats. So I'm thinking it'll be kind of classic isometric or top-down view of the ship. You explore the ship, you earmark cargo for later collection, and also you can pick up, personal cargo. That's one of the perks of being a Scout Salvage operator. You get first dibs on stuff that you find. So if you find any ship upgrades, for instance, or any suit upgrades, or any, knickknacks, you can take them for yourself. And you also get a cut of anything that you earmark for later collection. That's kind of how the job works. You work on commission. So yeah, I was thinking about writing a short story, or even, like a novella within that sort of universe. Ideally release it at the same time as the game. I think it'd be quite good fun, like a classic space RPG. A little bit Space Hulk, a little bit Alien Breed, although I'm not sure whether there'll be, explicit combat. A little bit XCOM, exploring unknown ships, and a little bit classic RPG, with upgrades and stats and stuff like that. And procedural ship generation, along with, random events that could happen whilst you're aboard the ship. Because I think that would be quite exciting, quite surprising. That's my grand idea for a second project, and yes, I would quite like to write a story in the universe. I'd probably write it as an epistolary style, like a series of found documents. Because it's dangerous work being a Scout Salvage operator, lonely as well, because it's just a single-man ship. It's just you and your ship's AI for company. Gee, I do hope the AI doesn't go rogue. Anyway, I shouldn't go on too much, because this game is years from completion. It might very well be my magnum opus. Or it might never come out, you never know. Blue933964 says, what is your favourite sock colour? Black. Sergeant Bobathan says, what are your thoughts about the changes Sledgehammer are making to Advanced Warfare? I think it will be same exact COD with double jumping integrated into the game. The first thing I thought of when I saw the multiplayer reveal trailer, I was instantly reminded of the Black Ops multiplayer reveal trailer. It has a very Black Ops feel to it. In fact, it looks almost like Black Ops 2 2. In fact, it runs so close. If I were Treyarch, I'd be slightly annoyed. I'd feel like, Sledgehammer were maybe stealing the thunder of Black Ops 3 a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know what direction Treyarch have taken Black Ops 3. Maybe they're going for a more sort of historical approach this time, which, could work, could be interesting. I don't know. The thing about Call of Duty is that it's incredibly well rehearsed now. I don't think it's possible for them to make a bad game. They can certainly make an original game. They can certainly make a game that it feels like you've played a million times before, but you can be pretty certain they're going to get the gunplay at least sort of right, and it's going to have the pace that Call of Duty players crave. So it might be alright, we'll see. As far as coverage, my current thoughts are probably about a month and a half to 2 months worth of coverage from its release. Probably going to do weekly videos of about 10 to 15 minutes in length. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm not going to do per weapon videos. I'm going to group them together by weapon category. So I'll split them into categories of maybe 4 or 5 weapons apiece. So maybe automatic assault rifles, and then we'll look at burst and semi-assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs, shotguns, pistols, so on and so forth. So like a meaty episode for each major category of weapons. And then that way, I can be done with the game in about, well, I think there's what 6 or 7 categories of weapons, something like that. And then within each of these videos, I'll look at a certain playstyle. So LMGs, I'll look at defensive play, and we'll talk about the perks that are important for defensive play and the XO abilities that can help you. Rather than, say, for instance, if there were 4 LMGs doing 4 separate videos and trying to find 4 different ways of using LMGs, I think I can aggregate them together. Anyway, that's my current plan for Call of Duty. That would give me a series length of about 6 episodes, which I think is tolerable. I think 6 episodes is a good short series length. And I figure the sooner I finish with Call of Duty, the sooner I can get back to Iconic Arms Season 2. Assuming that people want a Season 2 of Iconic Arms, and it gets views. Oh, also on the horizon, Retro Ahoy's return. I think I'm going to pilot an episode of Retro Ahoy very soon. I think I'm going to do Half-Life. I like Half-Life, and I do think, I can talk about, what it changed as far as FPS games are concerned. So I'm going to do 1 episode to start with, and if that's successful, I'm thinking I might do a short series of Retro Ahoy on classic FPS games. So, Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, Quake, Duke Nukem 3D, Unreal, maybe Counter-Strike as well. So I might do a run of 6 Retro Ahoy episodes at some point. Because I think that's still a good fit for my channel. I think FPS games, classic history, still kind of fits with the Call of Duty audience. And really, what I want to do is convert as much as that Call of Duty audience into, something more receptive to future series. That's the plan anyway. Whether it will go to plan or not, I don't know. But we'll see, won't we? It's worth a shot. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I shall see you on Sunday, most likely, for the Beretta 92 video of Iconic Arms, which is a rather unassuming pistol, but it's almost utterly ubiquitous. It's in everything. But I guess we'll save that for the video. Anyway, until then, farewell.